sober, dear Lord God, is our prayer. In Jesus Christ's name we pray, amen. As you've heard this event announced in preparation for this day, it's unfortunate that we have to prepare ourselves for such things as an active shooter or a mass shooting. But as we watch the news and throughout our communities across the United States, and even sometimes overseas, not as much, these things happen. As we see the mass shooting on a university bus in Virginia, as we see these things happening in our Walmarts, and within the last 8 or 9 years within the church doing Bible study. These are the type of things we have to prepare ourselves for, because we're seen as soft targets or easy targets. The church, community centers, shopping centers, is a place where people feel like they can easily commit crime and get away with it wherever there is a mass gathering of people. And unfortunately, our communities deal with not only mental health, mental health gets blamed for it all the time, but we deal with this racism, and then we just deal with an element of criminality that lives within our communities. But thank God we have, most of all, good people. Thank God we have law enforcement officers who are here, who put their lives on the line each and every day. Whether they're in uniform or out of uniform, their lives are on the line because people know who they are and oftentimes target our law enforcement officers, be it male or female. But thank God for their presence and their willingness to train us in how to prepare for such events. So at this time, we're going to bring up Sister Nichelle, and she will introduce our guest to us.
Thank you, Pastor, and good morning to everyone. Thank y'all so much for coming. I know Pastor said it was mandatory for most of y'all, but the fact remains that you still got up by God's grace this morning and came. So we thank you, and you came on time, so that makes it even better. I, in my heart, feel like safety is so important. And safety is not just what we think it is. It's much bigger than us. When we see things on the news and social media, we think that will never happen to me, or that will never happen to us. That will never happen at our church. Well, in reality, it can. Even though we have Christ, we are saved and sanctified, the devil is still real. And so we have to stay abrupt, and we have to stay vigilant of our surroundings. So this was set on my heart. Once Sergeant came over to our office to do this, I said, my church needs this. So I'm going to ask him if he can come over. And he graciously said absolutely, because he does this in our communities on a regular basis. So I appreciate him. Sergeant Stephen Woodard is in Texas Highway Patrol. He is our Texas TAN. He protects our state, not just our city, not just our community, but he is part of our state police. So he protects us in all jurisdictions. Sergeant Woodard is such a cool guy. So, you'll see in a moment. He's cool as can be. He is the epitome of an amazing police officer. He is the epitome of the majority. Okay? He has a heart of a teddy bear. But he can be tough when he needs to be. I call Sergeant Woodard on a regular basis, and whenever I need him, he's there. Whenever my office needs assistance, he's there, or he'll get somebody out there if he can't. He always answers my call, which is really good for a police officer, to be able to always answer your call. So I do feel protected at work when I know that he's there. Sergeant Woodard is part of our media relations at the Texas Department of Public Safety. He's also part of the public relations, as well as our safety relations. So he's a very, very busy Texas Highway Patrol sergeant to protect the state of Texas. He's my brother. He's also my cuz. We play cuz. But we're good friends. And I appreciate him so, so much. If you could, I want to introduce Sergeant Stephen Woodard.
So the reason why she calls me her cuz, my secretary, who takes care, really runs the place for me and my captain, that's literally her cousin. So by way of that, I just call her cuz. First of all, I want to give honor to God, who's the head of my life. I have a boss, don't get me wrong, and he treats me really good, real good, by the grace of God. But I don't worship him. At the end of the day, I don't worship him, I worship God. And I'm telling you right now, Pastor, and this is no gimmick, I don't belong here. I don't. I shouldn't be here right now. Based on the statistics of my background, where I was raised, but by the grace of God, I'm here. So I thank him for that. And what better place to be other than in his house, in your house, Pastor, so I appreciate that. Giving honor to the jewel of this house, Pastor, thank you for allowing me to come in. First Lady, where you at? Where's she at? She hooked it up, y'all. Me and my brothers were back there pulling our hair out. Cuz, her daddy, he's walking around them keys. I said, man, this man know what to do. He didn't know what to do. First Lady, once again, came in to save all of us. Thank you, First Lady. We appreciate you. And all the leaders, and most importantly, you. Thank you for being here. This church is a jewel. When I drove up, and I was raised in this neighborhood, when I drove up, it was like a diamond, if you will, in the rough. It ain't no secret, right? And it's a jewel, so it's just an honor to be here. Real quick, she did thank you. I can't believe you did that. Because we're not used to being honored, Pastor. At our church, we honor our pastor every year. Well, our pastor this and this day, that day, but this is just part of the job, and I appreciate you, cuz you mean a lot to me. And if I can't get there to help her, I got a bunch of troopers that'll go in my stead, or my boss, he'll go over there, and we're there for it. Trust me, she is well protected, the driver's license office, because we don't play that mess when it comes to folks mess with her and her folks. We just don't play that stuff. I've been complained on. Videos have been shot about me. There's one big one on YouTube where we had to go over, and we don't play it. We make sure that our friends over there are protected. She introduced me. Let me introduce you some folks, if you don't mind. This here, if you don't mind, I got my clicker man there. First Lady must be on the phone. All right, there it is. That's my family. Look, I can impress you with my accolades and education and background, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I like to impact folks based on some of my mistakes and, of course, my family. This is my life. Now, let's get one thing straight, Pastor. Let's get one thing straight. I don't put them kids before my wife. I don't. That's just me. Now, you may do that, that's you, but that's just me. I think what's wrong with the world, the pecking order is upside down, Pastor. It'll be God, your spouse, and them kids, right? What's happening today? Upside down. And I got an aunt that lives about 4 streets over from here. She's putting her kids and grandkids before my uncle. And I tell her about that all the time. You can't do that. But the top, that lovely lady right there, that's my wife, bless her. Man, I love that woman. Good-looking woman, too. Woo! Bless her heart, she's doing her thing. She's trying to promote within her career field, so she's working hard on that. Simultaneously, she's getting her PhD, and it's just a lot going on. So I try to do a lot of the cooking if I can for a couple of weeks, till she finishes that stuff. So it's a lot of macaroni and hamburger help and all that going on in my house. Our oldest boy, that's David. He's the #1 football player in the state of Texas, and he, depending on what you're looking at, cuz he's either number 2 or number 5 in the nation when it comes to football. The Woodard family, we just have a really huge legacy when it comes to football. We got a couple of NFL players, and I guess it bled on over. But he's a good kid. He just committed to Texas A&M, and We're proud of him. We're so proud of him. Now, thank you so much, really. That girl there, that's my favorite. She is. That's Morgan. That's my girl. I don't know what we're going to do with her. She's trying to figure it out. She didn't like volleyball. She didn't like cheer. Well, my grandmother said she going to do something. Right? So we're trying to figure her out, but she's so sweet. I love her so much because she tells me what's going on. Right? And then that little Carson, Pastor, I'm going to bring you in. We might have to do an exorcism. That boy's something else. He has his pep rally today. His little football team is going to their equivalent of the Super Bowl tomorrow. So little Carson is doing good. And I got breaking news here. You see that bird on top of Morgan's head? That's Greenlee. Do you see it? It's a talking parrot. Breaking news. Greenlee flew away. So Carson opens the door, right? That thing flies and it gets out. And he opens the door to do something, and Greenlee's out the door. In my opinion. Y'all, all right. Anyway, go ahead, my friend, if you don't mind. And we don't have our clicker, so you got to excuse me. So I ask people all the time, what is the job of a highway patrol trooper? And we may hear some music here in a minute to kind of give us a sound check. But what is the job of a state trooper? We know that there are several, not yet, but we know that there are several different echelons of law enforcement. Of course, you have the state troopers, I'm talking about here. You have, of course, Harris County, to which this county is in, and then you have the Houston Police Department. Then you have the constable officers around. Generally, a constable handles paperwork pertaining to writs, like evictions, divorce notices, etc. But in Harris County, it's a little different. You know, the constable rides around just like the regular police. But if you go to some of my counties, I cover 8 counties, and you go to some of my little counties, there's 1 constable and could be 2 deputies. So it's a different makeup here at Harris. But as far as the highway patrol, our job is this: to reduce fatalities on the roadway, to make sure people get from point A to point B and back from B to A. That's our job, and a lot more. And these troops, they do a really good job. There's only 3,800 troopers here within the state. So another entity that's attached to us, if you will, go ahead and go next. What a lot of people don't know is we have an undercover division. So a lot of our troopers, they'll do about 4 years with us and decide to go undercover. And those guys and gals, they look just like you, right? Just regular folks, and they blend in, and they do a lot of the drug task force stuff. If you see at the top, that's our helicopter that pulled a patch of marijuana out of an area from Waller. And they take it over to our main, my cousin, myself, our main headquarters in Houston on West Road. And they take that marijuana, Pastor, and they take it and burn it on Wednesdays. And we all come in and we observe the burn. What's wrong with these people? Because you got to have some type of, anyway. Push on, go ahead, man. Anyway. Let's just go. Let's keep going, man. I want to explain to y'all how this stuff works, but you're taking it as a joke. So we'll go on. Continue, my friend. I don't got time for this. Go ahead. So another echelon is the Texas Rangers. So the Texas Rangers are a part of us, right? So the Texas Rangers handle all of the white-collar crime investigations. If there's some sort of corruption, if there's some sort of unfortunate incident that happens in a rural area, like the Honorable Chief Troy Finner, I mean, they do their own unfortunate investigations that happen really unfortunate day to day. But you have some of your rural areas like Brazoria County or maybe areas like Chambers County. That's where our Rangers, they come in. Now, go ahead, my friend, if you don't mind clicking. The Ranger you typically used to look at as this guy. I promise you, none of our Rangers know Kung Fu or none of that. All right, go ahead, click, my friend. See if we can get a little, all right. So a little bit about what I do. I have 4 radio shows that I don't even know if anybody listens to. But around here, I'm always on KCOH 1230 from time to time. I did one segment on 90.9, and all the other stations that a lot of us listen to, like 102, 97.9. They don't have a talk block, so I'm not able to get on there. But I do have a holiday commercial running on 102. But I do a lot of radio, and this is one of my radio shows. We do it once a week, and we just take questions on traffic, truck driving questions, things of that nature. Go ahead, my friend. As we're pushing on, do a lot of law enforcement training. I train a lot of police officers and our troopers to ensure that they're doing the right thing when they're out there. But at the end of the day, that's going to be them. It's just like when you train a child. And when that child leaves you, you hope that what you instilled in them, that they go forth with that, but that's going to be on their decision. And that's neither here or there. You know what I mean. Go ahead, please. Another section, community. And Cuz remembers this. We were all a part of this. That's little Kissy, Trooper Kissy. She's gone on to glory. You remember this. And she had cancer, which by the grace of God, in his time, he brought her home. But she wanted to be a trooper, and we scrummaged. We got a closet that we have all these old trooper uniforms, and we scrounged up some old uniforms and took it to a tailor and had them tailor make a uniform for her. And this uniform is specially made. It's different colors, not because this was washed in Cheer and this was washed in Tide. They got it like this for a reason. But it was specially made for her, and we go out and do things like that every so often. You see this a lot nowadays. We were the catalyst, your state troopers, we were the catalyst for this when we did it for Kissy. And it became a snowball effect. Just like I was talking to some folks this morning, that this church is going to be a catalyst for some things. If people can't see the goodness of what's going on here and come to the goodness of God's work, I don't know what's going on. I'm telling you, I just have a feeling inside, Pastor, that something's good is about to happen. Just keep doing what you're doing. And that's my prayer. Please go ahead, my friend. Go ahead, my friend. Medium, if you see a trooper on the news, it's typically me or my buddy Richard Stanford or some other guys. And it's not really our favorite thing to do when it's talking about something unfortunate. But the top one, I'm smiling on this because we were talking about, safe driving stuff. I like stuff like that. But when you're talking about something unfortunate, even though I talk fluently, I teach people how to do the media stuff, I really get nervous inside. And it's my prayer that God gets me through this couple of seconds. It's one thing doing the media, because that's only a couple of minutes. I can only imagine, how the pastor feels when he's up there, because you're trying to convey a message that hopefully somebody receives, and, you hope you don't mess up. Go ahead. So pushing on. Schools, that's important to me. This will be the last introduction picture. This is important. We're in the schools, whether that's elementary or whether it's collegiate. Doesn't matter, right? We're there. And we have several programs laid out. If you don't mind, just click it 4 times if you don't mind. So our programs consist of, back up. Okay, so our programs consist of traffic safety and all of that good stuff, but we have to add active shooter. And we have plenty more. So if you have a collegiate club, a Boy Scout, Girl Scout, your civic club meeting, motorcycle club, whatever the case, give us a call. Cuz knows how to get a hold of me, and we'll be there. This doesn't cost anybody anything. We're here for you, and we'll put something together for your community. Click it one time. All right. Who was that? Let's see if we can get a sound check. Just click it one time. Didn't do it. Video's not playing for some reason. So there's a song, this song, and when he clicked it, it's supposed to play Silent Night. And that song, Silent Night, he starts doing his high note, right? Starts doing his high note. And the first verse, the first words of that song, does anybody remember? No. Well, yeah, the night before Christmas, all through the house, not a creature was there, blah, 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 not even a mouse. Then what did he say? He says, in my mind. Oh, okay. What we're going to talk about today has to get in your mind, because I'm telling you right now, at the end of the day, if something was to happen, whether it's in God's house or you're over, I keep wanting to call that rice, but that's not rice anymore. It's Fiesta. If something happens at Fiesta, Walmart, etc., you have to get in your mind that you have to do something, right? Temptation said it. Said in your mind, right? Go ahead, click. So this next video, and our system may not be playing our videos. This is a video that shows a church here in Texas, right up the road from us, where an individual walked into the sanctuary, presented a gun, and one of the church members shot and killed the guy. That's great. That's great. So, and this is the whole news broadcast, but he walked into the church, presented a gun, and one of the brothers was standing in the back like my friend back here, and that was the end of the story, right? Now, we're going to talk about firearms and what we can do and all that good stuff. And I'm not saying, look, what I'm telling you is this. First things first. State law says that a church, look, a church, and when I say church, I'm talking about any worship center, sir. Okay, what you got? You got it? Go ahead, Bubba. Click it. All right, don't click it yet. He's got it. All right, keep going, and that way you can adjust your sound. A church is just like a small city. Pastor's the mayor. If he wants folks packing guns, he can do that. If he don't want anybody, he can say no. That's what people don't understand, and that's going to be up to him, and we'll get into those laws. But as the video continues, as they get the sound together, you can keep it going. It talks about this individual going into the church, and somebody stepped up. I'm not saying anybody has to do that here, but what I'm saying is the law covers you and the church in incidents like that. I'm not saying that every brother in the church needs to pack a gun. Don't do that, right? Don't do that. I don't want somebody sitting here acting silly in church, and then brother goes up and says, "Hey man, can I speak to you outside?" "No, I'm not getting up out of here." "Can I speak to you outside?" "Well, hold on, brother," right? There's a way to do that stuff, and we'll talk about that, and we'll have a meeting with the brothers at another time on, the advice we give to Osteen and all those other guys, because there's outbursts over at Joel Osteen's church all the time, but it's a way you deal with that all the time. Every Sunday there's an outburst, but you don't see it because the sound man pastor, he's up on him, but you don't hear all that. It's just we got a lot of mental stuff going on. So, at any rate, as we push on, we'll keep going. I'll let you get the sound together. Go ahead and go back to it. Click it. We'll get it. All right, no problem. Continue on. Go to the next one. So I'm gonna put something up here, and I thought about this, and I'm gonna show this to you. I prayed on it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Go ahead, click it. So when you see these crime shows, typically, you normally see these little markers. And those markers are designed to mark evidence. A knife, shoe, whatever. This is how it goes. Okay, shoe, marker number 1, a picture's taken, and somebody logs number 1 shoe. All right, next. Pen, number 2. You get it? Now, that's the marker. This is the marker I generally use. Show them the marker I use typically. Go ahead and click that for me. That's my favorite marker. That's me. And I'm serious. You understand what I'm saying? She said she going up, she leave here. All right, go ahead, but let's get serious. So these markers are put up for a reason. Now I'm going to put something up. This is a church in Sutherland Springs. And I thought about if I wanted to show this, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just do it. So Sutherland Springs is not far from here. Go ahead and click it. This is right up the road, almost to San Antonio. And if you kind of squint your eyes a little bit, you can see those markers, can you not? Those are all the markers. And do you see those little orange little specks? Those are flags, my dear. And those are flags that we as troopers, we keep in our patrol cars to mark off crash incidents. So for instance, if there was an unfortunate crash and we're doing an investigation, we'll spray paint on the tire marks and different things. And if it's in the grass, well, you can't spray paint grass. So we take these flags and we put those flags in those areas. Well, those markers and those flags, those are markers for ammunition casings. And for those of you that are not familiar with firearms, let me show you one that's a little brighter. Here it is. For those of you that are not familiar with firearms, so when you shoot a weapon, if you can see, and excuse me for those that know, this little brown part or brass part, it goes out to whatever you're shooting. The deer, the target, whatever. This little silver part comes out of the gun and it falls on the ground. Well, all of those markings, the yellow, or for my East Texas folks, yellow, or the orange, all of those signify markings for these little silver casings. I want you to think about that for a minute, my dears. Before that devil went into that church, he shot all of that before he went in. Hello? Before he even went into this, I'm telling you because we dealt with this. Before he went in, he did all of that. And nobody did anything. Isn't that interesting? So if I remember correctly, this is an addition to the church to your right. Walking through their classrooms on both sides, some little offices, etc. And that the part to the left, the white part, is the sanctuary, if you will. He shot all of that before he went inside. First things first, if you hear a pop, it's a gunshot. If it's not, we'll deal with it later. All right? Very tragic situation. Very tragic. Very tragic. And the pastor, he said something that touched my heart when he said that, you know, we're a soft target at times. We're vulnerable at times. Well, we're going to put something in your tool bag to make you not so soft and make you not so vulnerable after today. After today. Go ahead, my friend. So real quick, couple of things we'll talk about is all of that. Common characteristics, prevention. We'll talk about run, hide, and fight. We'll go into shelter in place and being fully committed to defense. What you can do within the confines of the law and what is our responsibility. I'm going to get a little bit of uvality too. Uvality too. Go ahead. All right, as we push on, so an active attack event is simply this. Go ahead. We basically put it in an equation. We say that an active attack equals an attempted mass murder, period. We try to get away from the nomenclature of active shooter. It's basically a mass murder, an active attack. Go ahead. As we continue on, the National Tactical Officers Association tells us this, that an active shooter or active killing is one or more people trying to conduct a systematic killing spree. Systematic is continuously without interruption. Santa Fe High School, that was my deal 100%. That whole scene was my deal. And as you look back on the videos of that, when the young man, when he was going about the school, conducting havoc, when he got to a door that was locked, you know what he did? He kept going. It wasn't systematic. So there's some little things that we can do, right? That we can do as simple as just making sure that the doors are locked. I was already here when Cuz met me outside, which she didn't see, and you guys may have seen it on your cameras or whatever. I walked around the sanctuary. I like to do that when I get to places. I always show up about an hour early. Number one, for technical situations, and I like to come to see if any doors are unlocked. If you looked at your camera systems on last Thursday, I think it was last Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, coming from Texas City, seeing my grandfather, you probably also see in your cameras us going around rattling doors because we like to get a feel of what we're looking at. That's just what we do. Go ahead. So most of these situations are over with in 10 minutes, and 62% of them are stopped by folks just like you, not us, like you, because it's going to take us a while to get here. The nearest police station to this beautiful church is what? Reed Road? Used to be a library when I was in elementary, when I went to Reynolds Elementary. There was a library there, right? But it's a police station there to which nobody's there. Ever. Nobody's there. Now, there may be somebody there taking a report or something, but I'm telling you right now, and I teach at the Houston Police Academy. Been teaching there for years. I'm the only outside law enforcement guy that teaches at their academy for years. If you have a cousin that graduated within the past 15 years from HPD, I taught his class, he knows me, I promise you, or a family member. When I was coming here, I live in Katy, and I had the radio on this side of town. There's a lot going on in the morning, a lot going on. So just keep that in mind. The response time is going to be quick, but I'm telling you, time is not on our side, all right? So as we push on, here's some profiles. No profile. There is no, let me tell you something, there is no color, There's no any type of affiliate. It could be anybody. That man walked into that Walmart and shot all. He was a manager. Walked into the. I don't have to tell you the story. I'm telling you now. People, they lose it. Some people, and I'm not validating anything, but some people just can't take it. Some people when we go into our schools, we talk to these kids about bullying. Call us, we'll be there. We talk about bullying, and some folks will just, you back them in a corner, they'll go off. Prime example, I got this tomcat that roams around the property. And the tomcat is always getting messed with by my two dogs, Frankie and Sugar. Always, little barn cat. Well, Frankie and Sugar backed that cat into a horse stall and tore them to pieces. She had enough. Some people just have enough. And next thing you know, here we are. And I'm not validating it. I'm just saying we got to be careful. Avenger mindset, some broadcasts, go ahead. A lot of that stuff is broadcast on social media pages. I tell folks all the time with these active shooters, I'll say this right now. You don't need Kojak, Magnum PI, TJ Hooker, and all them other folks nowadays to solve a crime. You know what the first thing we do? You know we go, Pastor? You know we go first? We go straight to social media, and they put everything on there. That's how they found some of that takeoff stuff. Social media. People talk too much. This is what I'm cooking today. Nobody cares what you're cooking. My cousin, and she may be looking at this, I don't know. But she cooked her little Thanksgiving dinner. Pastor, them little turkey wings are so white and just, baby, and she put it on social media. Everybody don't want to see that. You know? I'm on a cruise. Me, we go, man, post that stuff when you get back from the cruise. Hello? That's neither here nor there. So we look at social media. We take a look at history of violence. We do a criminal history check on that. Exposure of violence. Are they prone or have they had substance abuse in their life? Have they? So when these individuals are in these situations, we do something that's called a toxicology report. You know what I'm talking about. So that's when the person's deceased, or we'll pull blood on this person when they're alive to see if something is on board the body, whether it's drugs, etc. And that goes into the report. Mental illness is a huge thing. I had to correct some folks on KCOH one day. A guy said, man, you know, the police need to have somebody that's dealing with mental illness. Well, they do. And I had to call in and tell them, hey, HPD has a really aggressive mental health unit. Matter of fact, not only is it a police officer, but it's a clinician in the car with that person. So if you're a mental health police officer, you're certified to deal with someone that's in mental crisis, and you have a nurse that's not wearing a gun that deals with that individual. Example, you get a call of an individual that's acting in crisis in front of a store. The average police officer at a minimum knows how to handle that individual, but they'll call over a crisis intervention officer, and then they'll do this. And they got it. That's their specialty. That's their specialty, right? So that's their lane. See, we all got to stay in our lane. What happens if it's 3 lanes and both of us come into the same lane? It's going to be a disaster on it. They got to preach. We got to stay in our lane. So the mental health officer, that's their lane. And I tell people that all the time, that we have that, but it's just not that many based on the amount. So mental health is a problem, and history of suicide, that's also a problem. All of those factors play into play. Go ahead, please. As we continue on, some risk factors: stalking behavior, negative family history, isolation. I want to go up to stalking. The post-nightclub shooting, which we'll touch on a little bit. Trust me, in this little time, I'm going to talk about all that. The individual that shot up that club, which was a gay club, I mean, he stalked it for a while. He had an obsession with this lifestyle and came back and killed all those men. Several men died in that unfortunate situation. Please, take a look, if you don't mind, advancing it. So when you click it one more time, go ahead. Okay, so back up. So the way we engineered this, it would be a bunch of little dots that will come up. And all these little dots will show you all of the active shooter incidents, active killing incidents that have happened across the nation. Whether it be you would have seen several yellows for gun, several reds for knife, car, and then we had another color, green, for other. But believe it or not, we've had situations where an individual has taken a car, drove it straight through a parade in Austin. That's an active killing. All of that goes into our stats, and then it accumulates to hundreds of these incidents. So we try to find out, how do we combat that? Go ahead. All right, so take a look. Businesses, outdoor events, schools, and others. As you can see, most of your attacks are in businesses. We hear about the schools because that tugs at the heart a little bit. That Walmart shooting, that was an active shooter. That Walmart shooting, and I'm in the news business, it aired for about 4 days. They're still talking about Uvalde. Matter of fact, they said something about Santa Fe Monday. It just tugs at the heart. But I'm telling you, most of those incidents happen in businesses. In businesses, whatever the case may be. So it's just not at a school. I want you to be careful and have your eyes peeled on all these locations. Go ahead. All right, so we made a pie for you, and I had to adjust this a little bit. One side is no connection, the other side is connection. So 58%, the individual has a connection with that site. What does that mean? You got a church member that's mad at what's going on. Things are not going their way. So they come back and do whatever they do. That's a connection. Or you just have some individual that is really in crisis, and he or she comes in here and conducts whatever they conduct. That's no connection. Walmart, ex-employee comes in, shoots up employees. That's a connection. Just some citizen coming in, trying to conduct a mass killing, that's no connection. As you can see, 58%, there's a connection involved. Typically when it's a business, it's an employee that's mad about whatever. The last one I did at a business was Knights Transportation. Guy walked in, and unfortunately, he got fired. 3 days later, he comes in, and he does what he does, unfortunately. People lost some lives. He did too. Go ahead. All right, so George tells us this. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Right? So we got to look back on what happened then so it doesn't come back into fruition. That's why we should talk about what happened to us as a race, because number one, it ain't come back to fruition to me. I just wouldn't be I just can't see myself. That's just me, Pastor. Ain't no way. Like Aretha Franklin say, ain't no way. But I'll leave that alone. Go ahead. All right. So if the video played, what movie is this? Color Purple. And if it played, you something else. If it played, they kind of go into this scene where you have Harpo, he's hanging out with Sophia, and then, do you remember Harpo's new old lady? What's her name? What did he call her? Squeaks. Squeaks shows up. Just to fast forward, if the video played, Squeaks comes up and says, hey, this is my juke joint, and that's my man. And, Sophia says, hey, I don't want no problems, whatever. Well, all of a sudden, she slaps Sophia. But something interesting happened that folks didn't realize. There was a guy on the piano. And he closed that piano. And then he said, whoop, time to go. See, that's some of us. If something's going on, it could be an argument at a family reunion or a domino game or something. You know what I'm doing? I'm packing up my little bunch. Whoop, time to go. That's just me. Now, here's the deal. I'm mandated, I don't know about any of the other police officers, but we as state troopers, we're mandated to pack a weapon off duty. So I don't care if I'm in my, normally when I'm out and about, I got on some jeans, some cowboy boots, and a shirt. Or whatever, basketball shirt. I always got, and I don't like wearing that stuff, but that's what they want us to do. And rightfully so. What time to go is not in my option. because they found out something was going on in the place, and here I am walking out there on camera, then I'll be in a bind, right? But, you know, when it comes to stuff, a lot of us are like that. Time to go. My name is Joe, and I don't know. But we need you to be a good witness at least. That's important. I'm going to show you on the next slide. Go ahead, my friend. So as we push on, we got a couple of different mindsets. We got instinctive, developed, and the ostrich. I'm going to start from the bottom. So ostrich is, whoop, time to go. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I didn't see it. Well, hold on, brother. You seen it. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't see nothing. Brother, you in the same room. And sometimes that's the problem. That's the problem, especially within our communities. We know that old boy is on the corner doing what he's doing, and we don't say anything, right? Matter of fact, we know that our kids are doing some things, and we don't correct it, right? When I was growing up, I can remember old Henry Duncan and them right down the street from me. They were about 10 years older than me, and, man, they were selling dope right out of their grandmother's house. She knew it. Never said anything. It cost them, too. It cost them. It cost them. Cost somebody their life at one time. But push it on, develop. That's what we're doing here today. We'll develop our mindset and kind of open our minds and see what we can do and what we're allowed to do here within this state. And instinctive, that's something you all got. I'm going to tell you something. You mess with a mother and her children, you got a problem on your hands. But you mess with a grandmother and her well, I don't know. These grandmothers nowadays, you know. I call my mother, hey, me and my wife, we're going to the rodeo. Don't bring them kids over here. It's a different grandmother now. You know, Rosalie Woodard wasn't like that. She said, bring them on, but it's just a different grandmother now. And that's so true. But at any rate, I can remember a mother over, there's an HEB over in West Columbia. She's in West Columbia. She's pushing a basket past them. And this is 3 years ago around this time. She's got one baby inside of the cart where the groceries are, and the other one inside the seated area, you know, the feet hanging. Mother, she has her purse in the seated area clamped on the bar. She's walking to her car, minding her business. 3 young men, and this is what these individuals do now. They sit in cars, and they just sit and wait. And a really good target is either someone of age or someone, what they think, with their kids, because they're going to corral their kids and say, go. Really, it happens all the time. Be careful going to that gallery and all those areas. Go, but just have your eyes peeled. These 3 individuals, they go to attack her, and she beat the you-know-what out of all 3 of them. And what she thought in her mind that these individuals were trying to attack her kids. Well, no, they just wanted the goods, but she gave it to them. It's something about a mother, right? And all of you have that instinct, all of you. All of you. I don't care what the situation is. If something is to happen within this church or within the facility that you're in, the least you can do is run out or walk briskly out. Whoop, time to go. Be a good witness. Please continue on. So we'll go down memory lane real quick. Santa Barbara individual drove a vehicle within a facility, killed a bunch of folks. Go ahead, please. And going all the way down the Post nightclub, again, gay nightclub. A man walked in shooting several individuals. A lot of those guys, unfortunately, died in the restroom stalls on the phone versus them trying to fight back or do something about it. I'm telling you, somebody's got to do something, or that person is going to harm you, and you're not going to make it. Please. The Las Vegas shooting. And I bring this up when we present this at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. When you go to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is really the biggest event in Texas, brings in a lot of money too, man. So there's a Holiday Inn next to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And I tell them all the time, man, you know, just make sure and keep in mind that event is very safe. So many police officers, so many provisions. They have communication towers up to where your cell phone is able to be used, but we always are mindful of a situation like this. And this particular incident happened with an individual at a hotel adjacent or parallel to the actual concert. It's a country western concert. But this is what's interesting to me. As this devil is shooting from this window, and he's got several guns, and for you military guys, you know what I'm talking about. When you shoot these guns a lot, they get hot. They really do. They get hot. And so he had several guns that he was trading out to continue. But this is what's interesting to me. And I'm not telling you nothing that I've heard. I sat down with the investigator personally. He came down and talked to a bunch of us that go around the state and teach this. He met us in Beaumont for a couple of days, and we went over this case. One thing that was interesting is everybody was just standing around as he was shooting, like this here. And they wasn't doing the wave, right? Half of the people there were drunk, didn't know what was going on, didn't remember what exit to take. And it was chaos, chaos. Law enforcement, we ended up taking care of that individual, but we need to know our exits. How do we get into some, and I'm at fault. I'm walking out one day, and I'm driving my wife's car. I'm coming out of Target or something. I'm thinking, where in the world is the car at? We've all been there. This is no joke. I'll open a car door, and I sat in, I said, wait a minute, this car too clean. I'm in somebody else's car. That's not good, man. And I'm telling you, like Barry White say, practice what you preach. That ain't good. I'm out here, I'm thinking, so what I normally do, and I tell my wife, my mama, all of them, when y'all go to the store, look up, even Morgan got it going on. She knows that's number 20, or I'm here, or we buy this here. That's very important that we know how to get out of places. And that was a downfall to this. Folks were so inebriated, they just didn't know, right? They didn't know the exits. And a lot of folks lost their lives that day. Go ahead, please. Pushing on, another car incident. We're starting to see now folks are committing a lot of crimes with these U-Haul vehicles. A U-Haul truck costs $19.95. A lot of crimes are being committed in these things because there's no tracking of it. When you go rent a U-Haul, if you present a fake identification card, there it is, right? If I walked up and I got this fake ID and it says Armando de la Cruz on it, and I mean, I could be, but come on, man. You know, we got to look into that stuff, and they don't. They just want the money. So another car situation, guy drives a car straight through an event, kills a bunch of people. Go ahead. We're almost done with this memory lane. There's Sutherland Springs. I told you the story on that. Please continue. One thing about Sutherland Springs, and it always reminds me when I put this slide in there, the individual that conducted that shooting at Sutherland Springs, that was a church I showed you with all the markings. That person wasn't stopped by a state trooper, wasn't stopped by a deputy or a police officer. That person was stopped and killed by a citizen. Some good old boy chased him down and did what he had to do for his community. Hey, that's how it is in those rural areas. Take a look at this. The number of deaths depend on how quick the police arrive and target availability. Let's talk about how police arrive. That's great. When they arrive, that's good. But what are you going to do? So here's the deal. Here's a door right here. And I did this exercise. She has a lot of employees. How many of you got over there now? I pulled up about 30 of them, and I did this exercise, and I kind of did something short on Uvalde. The thing with Uvalde, number one, that man in the front was supposed to go in. But here's the problem. You got this guy up front, he kind of knows what's going on. It's obvious. But you got this guy that's number 20, 40 halfway knows, 50 sure doesn't know what's going on. And then when you have a separation and no communication, at the end of the day, I tell folks all the time, this says how quickly will the police arrive. It's supposed to eliminate the threat immediately. But at the end of the day, that person has to make that choice to do that, right? And that's why we're putting on this training and making sure that these guys understand that this is your job. I presented to you my family, and I'm telling you right now, this is love. Let me tell you what love is. You want me to tell you what love is? Love is me risking my life for you, and ma'am, I love that orange. Where's my Houston Astros? I love you, honey. I don't even know you. But I will risk my life for you so you can go home to that handsome man. I will risk my life to where they'll have a horse carriage and all that police funeral stuff with my family sitting right here on the front row for you. Been there and done that. Been there and done that. That's love. But how we eliminate the deaths, number one is the police arrival. How quickly can they get here? And I'm telling you, Houston police gonna get here quick. Quick. They're like roaches. They'll get here quick. You think to yourself, good grief, I haven't seen a police officer all day. And the next thing you know, there's boom. Target availability. Can he see you? I'm going to tell you something, my brother. Very nice looking guy, a cowboy boot guy. He's got on some chocolate ostriches. Brother, can I tell you something? Hiding behind here ain't going to get it. That's like my son, bless his heart. When they were little, David, he would run and hide, and every time he see my car come up, he would hide and all that. He's a good kid, but sometimes right here. He would stand behind the curtain, pastor, like this. That ain't gonna get it. Target availability. Can he or she see you? I throw in she because we had a female that conducted an active shooter situation. At the YouTube Corporation, she got teed off, went in and shot everybody up. Right? So, target availability. Can that individual see you? Next, please. Push it on. Hey, man, time's ticking. Time's ticking. And generally, it's 3 minutes. I changed that for this area. Right? If I'm somewhere else in a rural, if I'm in Angleton, the time's going to be different. But generally, 3 minutes, that's what you got. That's what you got. And we got some choices we need to make. And we're going to talk about those choices here coming up soon. It's coming. Go ahead. So as we're pushing, I put this up for Prairie View A&M. Now, I put this up here to prove a point that from the college, you got this, that many minutes. Fort Bend Sheriff's Office, I put that up for a little community that's responded, that Fort Bend County responds to them in Fulshire. They got 29 minutes. Keep going, Richmond, PD, that's for a little community center in Richmond. And I put that up there to show folks that, hey, man, if the police officers are hanging out at the station drinking coffee, that's what you got. They got to be roaming. So what's the time limit here? Well, it's a little different because here the police officers are moving around. And I'm going to tell you how the protocol is. If there's an active shooter event, everything stops. The baby mama drama call stops. The dog barking in the tree stops. The cat meowing on the porch stops. We'll be back immediately. So 3-minute response time or less right here. When they had that scare over at the Heights High School, y'all seen it on the news, they're there in minutes. In minutes. Please continue. As we push on, take a look at this. Here's some background science, and I'm not going to push on this a lot, but there is some science to high-stress events. You don't perform as well when you're stressed. It's the truth. Been there. Click, please. I'll probably have you click a couple of times, but we talk about denial. Don't deny anything. If you hear it, that's it. Don't deny it. I won't use this church for an example, but I'll use a storefront. Employee comes back. He has a gun, and you've been working with Johnny for years. Johnny, don't do that. But Johnny about to do it. And you about to be the person he's about to do it to. Don't deny and don't validate. You know what? Don't deny and don't validate. Please, continue on. As we push on, keep going. That's a little denial video. So if this video played, it shows some unique information or a unique scenario. And this is a true scenario that we actually did. We took some people in the community, and we had them sit like in front of stores, sit on the steps of different governmental buildings. And we just had them lay on the ground, wearing just regular clothes, some of the clothes tattered. And it's interesting on this video, you see so many people, they were coming down the steps, just passing this guy. We had him laying on the steps. They were just passing him. Wouldn't say anything to him. But then we switched it up and said, what would people do if the guy was dressed in a suit? A businessman with a suitcase. Man, you'll be surprised how many people rented to his aid. It just goes to show you, depending on whatever somebody's socioeconomic situation is, we got to treat everybody the same. And the response has to be the same. The response and the care has to be the same across the board. Go ahead. Don't deny someone's help. Go ahead, pass deliberation. Keep going. All right. So we got the human brain and the lizard brain, right? We know that there's some unique sizes. We know the human brain. We have all of these tools that's available for us that we can use to help defend ourselves. The lizard, they only have two options. Either change colors or try to run, right? Either change colors or try to run. Well, we have more than that. Got cell phones, got our hands, our feet. communication, all that plays into the deliberation portion. Go ahead. So, fight, flight, freeze. Freeze is not an option, but that happens. It happens. You're walking, you hear something drop on another aisle in the store, you stop like, what in the world was that? It happens. But we got to quickly come out of that, deliberate that, and come out of that and continue on with the fight or get up out of there. Go ahead. It's going to come into play here in just a minute. So, is our residential Dr. Fauci in the house? I heard about you. Is she? I sure like to meet her. Where you at? Are you here? How you doing, darling? So beautiful. So we talk about this heart rate stuff. I'm going to tell you now, in a stressful situation, we don't want you to be in the black, but it happens. It happens. When we train our state troopers, I can't talk about the police officers, but when we train our state troopers, we have them guys operate in the black so they can operate up under pressure. Well, there may be a time you have to do that as well. One of our teachers at Santa Fe, she had that key around her neck for years and couldn't even get the key in the hole, right? Because those fine motor skills were depleted because of the stress. It happens. It happens. And the only way to combat that is to, number one, easier said than done, try to calm yourself down, easier said than done. Breathe. And you'll be surprised how breathing will reduce the blood pressure, right? You got some blood pressure problems going on, and if you're in a bind, you're sitting your desk, just breathe. Calm down. Hey, you're mad at an email from a boss or somebody at work. Don't fire back, cuz, and send that email immediately. Think about it and wait. Sometimes I give it a day, Pastor, and then I think to myself, you know, what a wonderful world, right? Right? Go ahead, continue on. I'm going to show you, well, this video is interesting because it's not going to play because of our stuff, which is okay. So we got this guy, and that ain't Bernie Sanders. But we got this situation going on. It's a shooting inside of a convenience store. And this convenience store, I use this as an example a couple of times in our time because it's very unique. Guy comes into the convenience store, he shoots the place up to rob it, and all of a sudden, okay, hold it, don't click it yet. There it is. First lady's got to be back there. Everybody turn around and look at my man. Look at him. He ain't doing nothing. Thank you, First Lady. All right, so before First Lady clicks it, because First Lady, I'm going to have you do it twice. Number one, that ain't Bernie Sanders. But number two, watch the situation and we'll redo it again. Go ahead, First Lady. Guy comes in and starts shooting. It's a lot of rumbling and bumbling. Everybody's trying to get out of there. They don't want to be the one. This is flight. All right? This is a trip. All right, now the First Lady's going to play that one more time. What I want you to take a look at is the young lady with the child. Click it. This child, I'm not an expert in parents and parenting. I've only done it 3 times. I'm still learning. Look how long it takes her to get that child out of that cart. That baby's at least 12 months old. So she's been doing this for about 12 months, for about a year, a little over a year. And the fine motor skills depleted. It happens. It happens. I never will forget, I was on I-10 when I was a road trooper, and I was on a team, called a drug interdiction team, where we sit on the highway, and we go and we stop folks, and we try to get a bunch of drugs. Any rate, I'm talking to these guys. I search their car. They have a big speaker box in the back. I'm looking. I take my tools. I open up the speaker box. Some of the fellas know what the speaker boxes look like. They have a red and black wire. You can pop that cap off about the size of a silver dollar. And I look in that speaker box, and I see a whole chicken like you would get from H-E-B. I'm like, what in the world? So I open it up, and there it is, a whole bunch of dope and stuff. I was known for getting that stuff years ago. So I go over to these guys. It's 3 of them. They're standing in a ditch on I-10 and Sealy. They can't see me because I get them in the dark. And I say, everybody get your hands up. And I drop the gun. They didn't see that, but I'm like, good grief. You know, fine motor skills. Got so excited, you know what I mean? All right, go ahead, First Lady, please. So as we continue, we're going to show that store a couple of times. This here's a blueprint, and I won't bore you with this, but this is a blueprint of a nightclub. And this nightclub, huge concert, and if you click again, and we don't have to play the video, but this nightclub, a fire erupts. Fire erupts and nobody knows what's going on. They still partying, rocking on, right? I don't know what was going on. I think they was playing that song by King George, Can't Stay Too Long. But they was going on, they know what I'm talking about. And they're sitting there partying, rocking, and nobody knows their surroundings. Click the next picture, please. Unfortunately, some people lost their lives that day. So you can see some of this. I marked it as best as I could, but during that fire, nobody knew where to go. The only thing that they knew of was the entrance. So 31 people died at the entrance because they didn't realize that the door opened inward and not outward. So 31 folks died at the entrance and various other places within the bar. I'm here to tell you, number one, Christmas time is coming up. And there are a lot of galas and parties and all that going on at a lot of these clubs around here, all right? Especially a lot of the clubs around here. I don't want you going into a club or an establishment that only has one way in. Now, that's your choice, but I'm here to tell you. One way in is not good. But know your exits. Even when you go into Walmart. When you go into Walmart. I do a lot of trucking training for the drivers for HEB and all those places. I'm telling you, that area in the back by the milk and all that, where the little plastic frail's hanging, if something is to happen, you need to go through that door. You can get out of there. That's fine. You have my permission. Go. Exit. Know your exits at your favorite stores. When you're going around Walmart, I know my Walmart when I go to it. I feel strange when I go to the Walmart of Pearland. I don't know where nothing's at, right? But I know my Walmart. I know my Target, and I know the exits. I know that it's here, it's there, everywhere. Keep going. Continue on. Know those exits. Know how to get out of there. Continue, please. All right, so easy said than done. Keep calm if a situation happens. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Shift your emotions, and at the end of the day, stay fit. Physically fit, sure as much as possible as you can, but mentally, that's very important. Knowing the ins and outs of these particular layouts are extremely important, and it's going to be important for you and the lives of your loved ones. Go ahead, please. As we continue on, script and practice, I urge you as you sit in your church, in this beautiful house, script that if something was to happen, where would you go? On the other side of this door, what is that? What's over here? Who knows? Script that stuff. Our ushers need to be scripting this stuff that if something was to take place, how can we get our sister that's in a wheelchair out of here? How can we get round up all of our children on the other side? That's another thing. We got to have a plan in place that if something was to happen, and practice that plan, that how we're going to get to our kiddos on that side, etc. Communication. I know you guys have that in place. Script. Do it at your job. When you're sitting at your desk at your job, script how you're going to get out of there. We went over to her office to run a drill, and I plugged up a speaker. She has a speaker system throughout her office building, and we just simulated some gunshots. When I clicked enter to make the gunshots, I looked up, everybody was gone. So obviously, they've already been, you remember that. One guy we had to call back and say, hey man, it's not over. Come back to class. But he did that, and she know who I'm talking about. So go ahead, script. Go ahead, please, script that. Continue on, we'll push on through that. For time purposes, continue that, please. All right, so the civilian's response, that's you. What are you allowed to do, right? Any and everything, right? When it comes to your life, any and everything. Go ahead, nothing is off the table. Go ahead. So don't deny. If you hear gunshots, hey man, it's gunshots. Go straight to deliberation on what you're going to do, period. What are we going to do in these situations? We'll get into hand-to-hand here in just a second. Go ahead. All right, play dead. I don't like it. Don't like it, but I'm here to tell you, it worked. It worked for one of those young children in Uvalde. I don't like it. If you can get out, get out. But play dead, hey, click it real quick. This used to say hide. Well, really, he's hiding and hoping, right? He's hiding and hoping. And that's not good. This is a last resort. If you can't hit an exit, if you can't hit an exit at your job or at the Walmart or whatever the case, hide, and it's got to be a good hiding spot, not behind the pulpit, because we see glass here, and I'm just making an example. You don't need to be visible. So continue on. So we used to say run, hide, and fight. But I want to change that. We like to say avoid, deny, and defend. Defend is very important. And you can defend yourself. Go ahead. Now, First Lady, if you could finagle this, I really want to show this. As the First Lady sets this video up, I'm going to put this out to you. This is a community meeting, and the group of people that she's about to show, first you're going to see the council party, and then you're going to hear a hissing sound like a snake in the crowd. And from there, it goes into a situation. I'm bringing this to you because we don't want you to deny what you hear or see. Let's take a look real quick. This is a community school board meeting. It'll just click it, First Lady. It'll be a delay, but it'll play. No, it's coming. Let's click it. Okay, no problem. Here it comes. All right, no problem. Let it go. I'll narrate it. So he's talking. Then all of a sudden, they hear this hissing sound. And what's going on, there's this guy, he comes in, and he's spraying this insignia on the side of the wall. And they're looking like, what in the world? Well, he's telling them, he presents a gun, and he's telling them, hey, I don't like what y'all are doing. This isn't right. But pay attention to the crowd. They just sitting. So finally they say, you know what, this ain't our, All right, so as it goes on, he steps up on the podium. They get up out of there. He steps up on the podium, and now he's talking to the council, and lady comes back and tries to hit him over the head with her Gucci purse. That don't work. And I promise you, Pastor, that's probably one of your secretaries that would do that for you. But any rate, at the end of the day, law enforcement comes in, takes care of business. You can click it, First Lady. At the end of the day, don't deny what you see. Get out of there, man. Get out of there. All right, so look, leave ASAP. Know your exits. Call 911. That's important. That's very, very important. Know your exits. Know your exits. Call 911. Everybody's got a phone nowadays. Everybody's got a phone. All right? I spoke to a lady yesterday. I forgot to call you on this because she wanted to talk to a trooper about something that happened at the driver's license office on this side of town. She said, I'm not complaining. Sweet lady. She said, that you guys have this new system that when you guys are ready for us, we get a text. She said, but the problem is I don't have a capability to text on my little phone. I'm thinking, you probably do, but it's okay. And she said, but somebody found me, and they said, ma'am, I think it's your time. And she said, it was just a great experience, but I just wish it was like a loudspeaker. When she was talking, I said, okay, we'll look into it. She said, another thing, why is my driver's license only 2 years? Because, and I said, well, I don't want to ask a lady her age, but how old are you? How old was she? She's 85. I said, we just want to see you a little bit more, you know what I mean? She started laughing, etc. But I asked her this question. I said, do you know how to dial 911? No, this is what she said too, Pastor. Before she got off the phone, she said, if there's anything y'all need from me, let me know. She said, I'm at home all day. I drive. Y'all need some volunteer work at driver license office. It was just so sweet. Pastor said something earlier. He says a lot of good people in this world. And that was one of 84-year-old Pillar asking if she could volunteer at the DL office, cuz. But I asked her before she hung up, I said, do you know how to dial 911 on your phone? She said, yeah. I said, okay. And I'm supposed to be going to meet her this week to get some coffee with her. So know how to call 911. That's very important, right? Even your children need to know how to dial 911. All of my children, they know when they go to my mother's house or my grandfather's house, if something was to happen, dial 911, right? Dial 911. Leave ASAP. The way 911 acts is when you dial it, Whether your GPS is on or not, we can look at your area and tell where you're at and send out the appropriate law enforcement agency. Your GPS can be off. And if you dial 911 in Pearland, you're going to get Pearland PD. Your GPS can be off. And if you dial 911 in Lig City, Galveston, you're going to get the appropriate law enforcement agency. Leave quickly. Go ahead, First Lady. Sorry. All right, we're back to that store. I want you to take a look at this. Consider your exits. I hate to pick on the store, but I got to. It was unfortunate, but it was perfect for this. So I have two markers here. You see those two people in that corner to your right? The guys shooting, they're crouched down in the corner. This is not an act. This is real. This is camera number 13. They had the ability to leave. Two exits. They could have left on that ladder or they could have left out of that door. That happened in Sandy Hook. Guy comes into that school, shoots up the place. The teacher had the ability to leave the school. Something to think about. Go ahead, First Lady. So as we push on, lock doors, turn off the lights, and of course, out of sight, out of mind if you cannot get up out of there. Locking the door is very important. Very important. These doors, of course, are locked, but I'm telling you right now, I can lock this door. If it's unlocked, I can still lock it. I'm going to show you in a couple of slides. We can lock this door if something was to happen and this door is unlocked, we want to keep somebody from coming in here, I can tell you how to lock it easily. Easily. Lock doors, lights off, out of sight, especially if your workplace, if you can't get out, you're on the 5th floor, turn the lights off, lock your door, and go from there and do what we do best. We pray for these moments. We pray for those moments. Was out of town on a cruise. Me and my wife are coming back. Got a call as we're coming back. We're almost in Galveston. This is nighttime. Got a call that my oldest son was shot at a party, Pastor. Shot in the leg. Talking about the #1 football player in the state of Texas. At this party, he's so green. He's so green. He ain't Katie all his life. You know what I mean? And he gets shot on the outside of this house party. One child was killed. 2 others were shot. Make a long story short, getting to us, my wife is crying uncontrollably. And I had to tell her, honey, this is what we go to church for. We pray for these things. We pray for strength. This is what we were built for. We're made for this. So get it together, right? And she's like, yeah, you're right. And, and then I go in the bathroom and start crying, right? But, that's just how it is. That's how we men are, right? Anyway, continue on. Mushing on, barricade, heavy is better, more is better. Door stops, anybody? Door stops, anybody? Something to think about. I priced them. They're not over $5. You can get a 3-pack of the little skinny ones at Home Depot or Lowe's. But door stops, that could be a locking mechanism. But when you're barricading something, a door, especially a door that opens inward, heavy is better. A lot of chairs, a lot of stuff. If you can't get out, lock it, stack all that stuff up. Continue on, First Lady, please. As we push on, let's go back to camera number 13. They had all that stuff. Look at that door that's open. When they ran into the storage room, they left the door open. Well, if they didn't know how to lock the door, they could pack all that trash. That bread basket that you see at your bottom right corner. It's there. Everything's there for the making. Go ahead, continue. As we push on, those are the door stops I'm talking about. You can stick that door stop, and you probably couldn't do it here at the church because our doors here at the church are elevated at about 2 inches. They're kind of high, but you can find a door stop that's tall enough. I've recommended a lot of door stops in a bunch of governmental buildings, and people buy them. That way you stick that door stop behind that door, you're not getting in. Not getting in. A lot of force. We talked about a systematic killing spree. If a guy gets to a door and it's hard to get in, chances are he or she's going to continue on. Go ahead, First Lady, please. So as we move on, we talk about the rope method. So I'll go here real quick. First things first. When I go talk to the football teams at these colleges, etc., high schools, I tell them, hey, wear a belt. Number 1, we don't want to see your drawers. Number 2, you could save somebody's life. So we talk about the belt method, and it's up there on the screen, but you can take a belt and put a belt around this pump, cinch it down tight, door's not going to open. I mean, it can open if you really work on it. I mean, you almost tear the pump off the door. But that's one way. Another way of locking a door, let's say if we want to lock this door right here. this door right here, we can do like this guy's doing, pull some of these mic cords. We don't want to make the pastor mad, but we got to do what we got to do. We'll pull some of these mic cords off, wrap it around that handle, and somebody can lean on the other side of this wall, keeping that door closed. It may open a little bit, but we're denying entry. We're denying entry, right? We'll talk about if he's foolish enough to come in. That's when he's really going to have a problem, when he come in on us, right? Pushing on. As we continue on, go ahead, First Lady. I took a picture of this, had some of these door stops put into some buildings, something to think of if you would like to look at. There's numerous of door locks that are out there. Go ahead, First Lady. This is a video, if the First Lady would please help us. This is one of our last, something to think about. Before the First Lady clicks play on this, we really, really appreciate our teachers. There are any teachers in the house? Because now our teachers, they have to educate. They got to corral them to lunch. They got to make sure their conduct is good. Now they got to protect them. Guy said, man, hey, what do we do with all the students, and why can't we get, man, let me tell you something. Have you ever, and I asked this principal, I said, principal, do you go to the lunchroom? You know, you're telling me you want a teacher to take 14 kids and go down the hall with them, and then that teacher on the same hall with her 14 it'll be chaos. Best thing to do is lock those doors and try to shelter in place and deny entry. That's what we need to try to work on. Take a look at this real quick. Let's see if it'll give us some sound, First Lady. If not, I can narrate it. No problem. Let it go. Let it go. So what Diane Sawyer's, what she's conveying to us, she did an interview with a teacher that was involved in Sandy Hook. And the teacher talked about how she protected the kids, how she tried to keep them as quiet as possible, how she tried to keep them calmed down. That's her right there. How one of the kids was like, hey, I can protect you. I know karate. Just crazy stuff going on within this lady's head on what if this guy comes in and tries to harm me and these kids? What am I going to do? And she talked about how she sheltered in place. She locked her door and denied entry. She didn't even let the police in. They had to literally slide a badge under the door. She did the right thing, and kudos to her. Go ahead, First Lady, please. Wonderful. So, defending. We talk about positioning, grabbing the gun. Somebody's like, you got to be crazy. Hold on. Fight and shift your emotions. Let me tell you something. We all have a used to be. All right? And your used to didn't take no mess. Matter of fact, some of y'all don't take no mess right now. And I'm telling you now, you got to shift those emotions. If we come to the point to where we can't get out, he has entered into our space, now we got to go for it. Right? We got to use our hands, feet, teeth. Whether you bought them or you still got them. Use them. Right? And at the end of the day, I had to grab the firearm, because if a guy is crazy enough, and some of these guys that have been in the military know, if a guy is crazy enough to come into a room with a rifle, he done. Because we're going to grab that rifle. We can take a hold of that. And we got to do what we got to do to protect our sanctuary, protect our children, protect our women, men, protect our pastor. We got to do everything we have to do to make sure that this situation is extinguished immediately. And those conversations have to be had. They have to, especially among the men. Especially. We got to be watchful. That's what the Bible tells us. Be watchful. I'm telling you, when we're praying and we're down and we're giving, of course, our respect to God and our pastors, somebody better have their eyes open. Somebody better have their eyes open, look and see what's going on. Not just for a shooter, but maybe somebody could pass out, or whatever the case may be, right? I know Deacon Jones, when I was growing up, he would be looking around, and if I didn't have, he's looking for that. There wasn't no active shooter then, but Deacon Jones looking for, who ain't doing the right thing, so it's whatever. Shift those emotions and take those emotions to the fight. Take them to the individual that's trying to conduct harm on you and your people here within this beautiful church. Here's the place again. This is the liquor store aisle. This is the liquor aisle. So as we're on the liquor aisle, First Lady, you got to play this one. So as she gets ready to set it up, and we appreciate our First Lady, and I appreciate her too. So as she brings this up, this is on the back portion of the store, and this guy is shooting. We've seen Bernie Sanders. We've seen the two inside of the stores waiting. Check this guy at the bottom, right here. Guy's shooting. He's on the phone calling 911. He picks up a bottle of Alizé, and he turns it over. And now, wait a minute, it ain't over. Now, look down that aisle. We got a couple of things going. Look, she don't know what's going on. So we got three things going. We got one person that's getting ready to go fight. He picks up a bottle of Hennessy. He's going down the aisle. We got Granny. She just going to go ahead and just play dead. She just played dead, right? And then you got these other folks running. I say this to you as direct as possible. Thank you, First Lady, for playing it again. Everything is a weapon. Even this chair. Everything. Your keys. I'm not trying to be morbid here, but everything is a weapon, right? Everything. Just because you have a pistol don't mean you know how to shoot it. Everything. Nothing's off limits. You can bring it back up first. Thank you. Everything. Just remember that. Nothing's off the table. Nothing, because this person is trying to harm you. He's trying to harm our parishioners. He's trying to harm our pastor. He's trying to harm your grandchildren in the store, whatever the case. Leave, and on the way out, grab you a bottle of Hennessy. All right, go ahead. Let me get up out of here, because y'all ain't going to invite me back. Continue on, First Lady. I'm looking at my time. I got my buzzer on my hand. Keep going. All right, so real quick, what matters to you? Let's go over the chart. Go ahead, First Lady. Last one. Go ahead. So here it is. She brought it all the way up, and I appreciate her. This will be our last slide. I want to go ahead and dive into this, and let's cut the pie. So as you can see, first things first, attack starts. Whatever that is. You're reading it, but we'll go over it. Attack starts, something is happening. Whether you're in the store, whether you're at a party, whatever. Attack starts. When the attack starts, my dears, that is not the time you have your cell phone. Can I see it real quick? Anybody? That's not the time for you to do this here. Who's this? That's not the time for you to do this here. That's what we do. That is something to me. Get out of there. Thank you, dog. So attack starts. We got a couple options. Here it is. Do I know where the primary exit is? Okay, yeah, it's over there. Okay, cool. I'm going to run and get up out of there. No problem. Easy. First option. Pew, gone. All right, no, I don't. I don't know where the exit is. I'm stuck in the middle of whatever mall. I don't know. I don't know where the gunshots are coming from. I'm here at Bed Bath & Beyond, and I hear shots. I don't know. Well, your next deal is to hide or deny entry. Hide or deny entry. You in Bed Bath & Beyond, the guy shooting and coach next door. You going in that back stock room somewhere in Bed Bath & Beyond, and ain't nothing they can do about it, right? You better come with me. I'm going to lock you out. Whatever the case. All right, cool. As we push on, we deny and hide. Is there another exit? Can we get up out of that? Can we get up? No, we can't. Well, here it is. At the end of the day, you got to fight and defend. If you're confronted. If you're confronted. Absolutely. I'm telling you now, you're in Watkins. Something was to happen. You're back there at the meat market, getting one of them boudin links or whatever, whether it's the regular one or it's the crawfish one. Something happens. I'm telling you, there's a back door to Watkins. Go. Whatever's going on in the front, that's between them and that security guard that's up there asleep. Right? That's between them and them, right? Know your exits. But if you hide and your back is against the wall, you're going to have to defend yourself, my friends. You're going to have to defend yourself. Period. End of story. First Lady, you can press B or bring it down. I'll tell you this, and I won't go over the Virginia Tech stuff, but I'll tell you this. At the end of the day, we know the time for law enforcement. We know what we need to do. We know that evil is among us. Wherever there's good, we know that there's evil. But I got to steal this from the pastor, and I'm going to say this from now on. There are some good people in the world. And he's right. He made me think about that I can come in contact, I can go on the road, and I can stop about 20 people. I'm telling you, pretty much all 20 of them are pretty good people. Really, really, to be honest with you. What you see on TikTok and all that, that's just what you see. That's why it's the same video all the time. It's just isolated stuff, but it's typically really good people. But we understand evil is among us. We just need to know that we can't deny it, and we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared. And I think we're prepared here. It is my hope and it's my prayer that God keeps our pastor in peace. It's my hope and prayer that my pastor and his wife, marriage continues to really relish and grow and continue to be leaders here within the church. Because without a good helpmate, it'd be pretty hard. My second prayer is for all of you to continue to love each other. Because I think we need more love in the world. That's just me. I think we need a little bit more love in the world. Just don't say hello to your church family and friends. I call it the 10-foot rule, brothers. If I'm within 10 feet of you, I'm going to say hello to you. Now, that's up to you if you don't want to say it or not. Hello, how you doing, ma'am? Yes, ma'am, whatever. And we need to teach our children that. Lastly, we need to know what our children are doing. Pastor, my daddy knew what we were doing. Kind of got on my nerves, but now I know. Pastor, I remember I was in my room. I'm talking to this old gal on the phone. We didn't have a cordless. We had a cord. The cord probably reached from here to my patrol car. Long. I had a little short, little jerry curl. And I'm talking to this gal. We talking, and I had the door closed. Daddy walked up and said, "Hey, don't close no doors around here." Whatever. So I had the door open. Anyway, next day I did it again. I came home from school, the whole door was gone. To this day, that door still isn't on that room. He was serious. He was engulfed. He was involved. Mama just hit real good. She didn't. Daddy was all right, I'm going to tell you that, but Mama, she just took care of it right then and there. I could just remember my daddy. I'm in school, and my friend doing this. I'm in there cutting up, and he doing this here. And my daddy looking through that window with that Pepsi-Cola uniform looking. Golly, man. But I thank God for that, right? We got to be engulfed in our children's lives. We got to be engulfed. Did you know during Santa Fe, when we showed up to that young man's house? From here, from that door, when you walked into the house, his room was probably where the pastor has this secondary podium. You could smell diesel gas down the hallway. You know why? Because he was in the room making bombs. He actually threw a pipe bomb at one of my troopers, guy I went to trooper school with. How as a parent you not smell gas in the house and not know what's going on? Back to my original statement, I love you, I care about you, and it's my responsibility as a police officer to make sure that you're safe, not only through enforcement, but education and beyond. But it's all of our responsibility to pray for each other, because at the end of the day, we live in this good old world together. Pastor, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Good job.
Amen. Let's give Sergeant Woodard another round of applause. Amen. Thank you again, Sarge, for all that you do for the state and for the community and for HPD. We honor you. We thank you again for your sacrifice. So it says to us that Mount Moriah, when we come to worship, we ought to have our mind on worship, but also have our mind focused on what's happening practically around us. And as Sergeant Woodard really challenged our men, if we were listening, be vigilant. Don't just sit here and not watch what's going on around you, or not watch me because I can see things that you can't see sometimes. You can see things that I can't see. And as we watch the church being robbed on the news up in New York, The first person they came at was the pastor. You know, first person he came at was the pastor. So let us be mindful of that. When I share my experiences as I ended my career as a school resource officer, I had to go to work, but with my mind focused on uh, if I had to shoot a child or if I had to shoot somebody to protect the children in that school, my mind was always geared as I drove to work. As I drove to work, that was my mindset. And so our mindset also when we come to church is to be on worship, but also to survive, also to know what's going on around us. And one of the things I sat here and I listened to Sergeant Woodard talking is that these are two exit doors, but if you don't know, we have a third exit door right behind this door. Walk around your church, know the exits. I'm almost certain on Sunday morning that this glass door in the back is open as well. That's a fourth exit. Uh, Psychologists have suggested that if something was to break out, we will always take the exit that we are accustomed to going through. So focus your mind that if something happened back here, don't run back here trying to get out. Take one of the other exits. Try to get out. Amen? Amen. God bless you all. Michelle, we want to thank you for seeing the need. And exposing us to, amen, I want to say one of the top cops, amen, in the state of Texas. All right. One more thing before I go. So if sometimes you feel or see a little budge on your pastor, go on about your business. Just know if something happened, I got you. Amen. 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 Yes. Drill. Yes. Yes.
Sergeant Woodard had mentioned about, I don't know if I'm using the right term, like legal ramifications about weapons. I think he said it's
Well,
up to.
yeah, it is. And like he said, we don't want everybody packing a weapon
No, I was just
because,
but he said you
yeah,
can't get with us.
yeah. I would say if you want to at least be considered as being able to bring a weapon to church, you take it upon yourself to go get trained, go to class, state officer class, and you don't have to be licensed anymore. Am I right about that? Oh, right. No, I don't mind.
State law says that you can have a weapon in your car. You can. You don't have to be not a convicted felon. You can have a weapon in your car. And it can be loaded. The guy always says, hey man, well, how should I pack the weapon? Old school used to be ammunition away from firearms. I tell folks, do you go buy a bourbon and say, hey, this hole of meat, give it to me? No, load it up. If you're not a convicted felon. Very important. But I'm along with the pastor. You go, now that doesn't mean you can bring it on site to a place. Can't bring it to the barbershop, can't bring it to the church, etc. But if you're licensed to carry, you can bring it to these places they allow. Uh, Most churches don't allow open carry. I don't know why a person would want to openly carry. We don't do that. It just don't, but people do. They do it. And they get their weapons taken from them. But you have to have a license to have a weapon on you in a place. In a car, you don't. A car,
Right, so along with the class, and once you get licensed, they also have what they call Texas Shield. That's a liability insurance that I suggest that you get along with your license. That if your gun is exposed while you're carrying it, or if you have to pull your gun at any time, you have a lawyer that's associated with your Texas Shield that you can call 24/7 that will protect you, and at no time should you talk to the police if an incident such like that happen. Let your lawyer talk to the police. All right. All right. All right. Yes, ma'am. We have donuts and coffee left in the fellowship hall. Please feast. Yes, ma'am.
Please allow me, I'm visiting today.
Yes.